This is Joy Rowland, and you're listening to the Joyful Money Podcast. This is episode number 81, How to Make Success Inevitable with Duane McHodgkins. Welcome to Joyful Money, the podcast where we focus on making money the joyful way. We are done with the stress and anxiety that typically come with making money. Will feature extraordinary and inspiring business owners who are making a huge impact by sharing their gifts and talents with the world. Pour yourself a cup of coffee or tea and let's go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Joyful Money Podcast. I am so excited and thrilled. If you are watching on YouTube, you can see me grinning from left to right. And the reason I'm thrilled is because I have the amazing Dwayne Nick Hodgkins. And he has an amazing story and wisdom to share with us. And I cannot wait for you to listen. Welcome to the show, Dwayne.
Hi, Joy. Thanks. I'm happy to be here.
Fantastic. So why don't you start, Dwayne, by introducing yourself to the audience and what you do?
Okay, so I currently own my own business. It's called Duane's Reliable Computer Services, and I'm basically an IT. I'm like the IT department for really small companies, like 3, 4 people, and also for individuals. So those people that kind of get left out of the larger IT companies. So that's kind of my niche. So and I write books. I've had my own business since 2010, went full time with it in 2012. And you know what? I could not be happier. My life has been so much better working for myself. It's where I belong.
Wow, amazing. Now I see why I was so attracted to you online. I also have an IT background. I did computer science and then a master's in IT. So it's amazing. It's amazing. I love that. I love that. So can you describe to us how your journey began in business? Like, how did that happen? Because over 60% of the population just want to do a 9 to 5 job, right? I feel like those who go into business, we have a different mental structure, right? So, how did you end up in business?
Yeah, so let's go back to 2001.
Mm,
I had been with a company for 12 years. I had started in their front line and worked up to I was senior manager. I was over half of the company. And
mm,
another guy in the company, he and I were running the whole company, and we kind of clashed. Of course, he had his side, I had my side. So there were things that we didn't agree on. And there was
mm.
change in upper management. The owner was retiring, and his son was becoming the president. And I knew that this other guy was going to get the VP shot because he'd been there longer than I had. He was older than me. And I just figured, okay, well, some of these things that we butted heads on, I'm just gonna I'm gonna lose on those now, and that's fine. Well, he didn't see it that way. 2 weeks into that position, he calls me in and he says, "You know what? This just isn't gonna work." So,
Wow.
so in one day, I lost my job, my company car, and pretty much all of my friends because I had literally
Mm,
grown up in this company, and that's where all my friends were too. So that was a shock to my system. Um,
mm.
and so then, it took a long time to replace that job. Got another job, and in that one, things were going well. I was managing it was a sales office of a national company, and my office was doing fantastic. I was third in the company in growth, so things
Mm.
were happening, and they changed supervisors. I was in a new area. They kind of redrew the boundaries. And sitting down with my new manager, and she said, "Well, what are your goals for the next year?" I said, "Well, I'd kind of like to take advantage of the tuition reimbursement and go back and get my degree." And she was like shocked. "What? You don't have a degree?" And I was like,
Wow.
"No." and I went through and explained my previous jobs and stuff, and that the guy that had hired me, he knew all about this and everything. We kind of went on and continued our conversation and other things. A couple weeks later, her assistant shows up in my office, does kind of a witch hunt, trying to find a reason to fire me. Couldn't find
Wow.
anything, but they let me go anyway. So that started about 10 years of underemployment, unemployment, just really trying to find where I belonged. I
Mm,
finally got on with the company. I was doing route sales, so I was running a route. It was Hostess, that Wonder Bread and all that. And at the time I was in my late 40s and I was going, wow, this job is
mm,
not something I see myself retiring from. So
mm,
what am I going to do? And in talking with my wife, she's like, you've always been really good at computers. Why don't you look into doing that? I was like, wow, that's a great idea. So decided I'd start looking into maybe community college or something, but the timing wasn't right. Their classes had started a couple weeks before. So
mm.
I went and got the books, taught myself, and on my off time while I was working, I started this company and started supporting customers. My goal, that was 2010. My goal was 2015. I'm going to quit my job and do it full time. Well, the hostess filed for bankruptcy and shut their doors at the end of 2012.
Ah,
Oh,
wow.
so it was a little early, but at that point, I'm going, I don't know if I'll find another job that'll work as well with my schedule, so I'm just going to go for it. And I did. I went for it, and it's been fantastic. I know about
Mm,
2 years in, I think it was, my son said to me one day, he said, Dad, you're not nearly as grouchy as you used to be. So,
what?
and mainly I did this because I told myself that I'm not going to have this happen to me again. In less
Mm,
than 10 years, I had three different companies where I felt that I had to leave and it wasn't my fault. So I
mm.
decided I am not going to put myself in that situation again. I'm going to control my destiny more. And I did that by having my own company. So
Yeah. That's an amazing story. So then, Dwayne, when you decided to go into business for yourself, obviously you had never done this before. How did you manage your mindset around, like, did you think, oh my gosh, what am I about to do? Is this going to work? Like, how did you manage your mindset around that to go all in into your business?
I think I kind of took it as a kind of like the burn the ships mentality. You know,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
landed on the shore and I was moving forward and I knew I wasn't going to be able to go back. So, you know, burned the ships and the only choice is to go forward at that point. And that's what I did. One thing that when I first started, especially once I had, decided this is going to be my full-time gig and I really had nothing else to rely on, I decided regardless of what I have going on each morning, I'm going to get up and I'm going to go to work.
Yes.
There's some people that, I don't have anything going on this morning. I'll just kind of take it easy. Maybe I'll watch the news and just, take it easy or
Mm,
whatever. But no, I got up every morning, I got dressed, I went to my computer and I started working. I actually created a spreadsheet and it was based on quote by Robert Louis Stevenson. Don't judge the day by the see, I always get this wrong. It's about it's not about what you sow, it's about planting the seeds. Okay, that was I,
mm.
I need to put that on my wall because I can't remember it after. But anyway, so I started this spreadsheet and it was called Seeds. And basically, I had it was for 1 month. I'd have 31 days across the bottom and across this up the side, I would have different things that I could do to move my business forward. So I
Wow.
didn't have customers this morning. I would look on the spreadsheet and I would go, okay, what can I do? Oh, I can send thank yous to people that sent me a customer. Great, do that. And I would actually mark it all out on this. Whatever it was, I can post on Facebook. I can update the ads that I had on when I started, I was using Craigslist. So, all these different things that I would do, and I would make sure that I marked it all down. And then if one of those that I specifically did grew into something else, I would highlight it and I would keep track of that. So I've realized over the years that I'm a scorekeeper, and that's what motivates me. So I find things so that I can keep score to keep myself motivated. And this really motivated me because I'm like, okay, I did this last month. I did these 4 different things. And look at that. 3 of those 4 turned into new customers. So that kept me motivated to keep doing those again and again and again. And I used that spreadsheet for probably the first 3 years. And then
Mm.
I got to the point where I was so busy that I never really had time to look at it. So,
Wow. Like this is so impressive. And like I know you spoke very quickly there, and I was taking notes, but you touched on very key success principles that you've done, maybe not intentionally, but you did those things. For example, you said it's almost like you burnt the bridge, right? You came to the shore, and the only way was to succeed. And it's almost like you guaranteed your success. You made success inevitable by all of these principles you implemented. One of the ones that stuck out for me as well was you said you get up every morning, you get dressed, and you go to work. Even though you were working for yourself, if you didn't have anything on the calendar, you didn't just go and watch Netflix, which is what many entrepreneurs do, right? So you made success inevitable. Like just looking at everything you did and knowing that you have a brain that likes to keep score. You use that to your advantage by using a spreadsheet. Like that is so phenomenal. And I know that the audience are definitely learning from your experience. And I am learning as well. So then tell us, what's your business strategy? Like, what's your framework? How do you get clients, and how have you stayed in business for this long? Because
so
as you know, right, doing only 5% of businesses succeed.
yeah.
Right. So you are like a unicorn. So I want people listening to learn how you did it.
So first off, when I started this and when I went full time, I did not have a lot of funds lying around to, create a marketing plan and, throw a bunch of money at it. I was running free ads on Craigslist. And at the
Mm,
time, Craigslist would allow you to kind of refresh your ads I think it was every 3 days. And by
mm,
refreshing it, it gets it to the top of the stack again so people will see it. So I created 5 different ads so that every day I would have at least one, some days 2 ads that would be going back to the top of the pile. And I kept up, made sure I did that every single day so that I always had that going on. I also made sure that everybody I talked to knew that this is what I was doing. I was posting on my Facebook page all the time. But the thing I did the most, I I started doing networking. Okay.
wow.
So didn't know much about it, but I had heard that, this was something that was inexpensive or sometimes free. And I'm like, okay,
Mm,
great. I'm all about that because I have no money to spend. And so I went on to Meetup, which, Meetup it's a great platform. It's you can go on there and you can meet friends, you can find groups that, oh, I like to go hiking. Okay, there's groups for that. So I went on and I looked for business groups and I found some different networking groups and really getting out of my comfort zone. I would just show up to these meetings, not knowing a single soul there, didn't know what I was doing, but I would just show up and, try to talk to a few people and just say, hey, you know what? I'm new to this. This is my business. This is what I was trying to do. And in doing that, people that have been there longer would kind of take me under their wing, kind of show me how to do it. And I learned how to talk to other people. And, the biggest thing I got out of networking is that people like to do business with people they know, like, and trust, right? So
yeah.
it's not an immediate reaction. I probably went to networking events for 2 or 3 months before I ever got any business out of them. And it's
Mm,
funny because I see people now, I still go to networking events all the time. I go to at least one a week just to, because you got to keep it going. You've got to keep You've got to keep your funnel full. You can't rest on your laurels and say, oh, I've got plenty of customers, I'm good. No, you always need to keep going. And I see people now, they'll show up to a networking event, they've got a stack of business cards and they're just kind of like dealing cards, going out there giving everybody a business card. It's like, no, that's not how it works. It
Mm.
doesn't work that way. You've got to get in a small group, in this larger group, if it's a like a just a mingling happy hour type event, and you got to talk to these people and you got to find out about them and find out what they do, and you got to ask them questions. You've got to be genuine. You've got to care about what they do. One of the best things you can do in a networking situation like that is, if someone's saying, oh, well, I do this and I do this, and you go, you know what? I know someone you need to talk to because you might be good power partners for them, or I know that they're looking for this service, or, whatever it is. That's the best thing you can do, because that's going to
Mm.
help people know, like, and trust you. So that's what I did to really grow my business. And there was a couple years ago, I walked into a networking event, and I'd been going to this event for, I don't know, probably 3 years at that time. And I walked in the door and I just kind of looked around, and I just thought to myself, wow, just about everybody in here is, number one, a friend, and number two, a customer. And it
Really?
takes time, but yeah, and it's like, wow, this is great. So that's the goal, and that's a great way to get out there and start a business and not have to spend a fortune doing it.
Wow. Those are very key nuggets you just shared. Like what you just described is like forming relationships, not seeing people as just dollar signs, right? Like when you interact with people online, I've seen this happen to me many times. People just want to find out if you're going to pay them, right? And if you're not, they say next, move on to the next person.
Yeah,
So building a sustainable and successful business is all about forming relationships. And I
yeah,
also love what you talked about doing, about putting yourself out there, right? You put yourself out there. I'm sure it didn't come natural to you, right?
no,
Many people are introverts. Many people don't are not comfortable in social situations, but you put yourself out there and it has really paid off.
yeah,
And I also love what you said. You said you didn't wait to get a formal education to start your business. You thought to yourself all of these things you know. And looking at the book you have behind you, The Higher Education Scam, debunking the myth that everyone needs a college education. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because in my work, when I come across women who want to start businesses, they always have limiting beliefs. I don't have the right education. I don't have the right experience. Can you speak to that, please? And also tell us about the amazing book you have.
yeah. So, first off, I run into people too that, yeah, I want to start my business and I've been working on my business plan. Like,
Mm.
oh, okay, well, how long have you been working on that? For 6 months. And
Yeah.
I want to just shake them, because you know what? That's not starting a business. Starting a business is selling something, selling a product, selling your service, whatever it is. But until you do that, you don't have a business. Now, is
Mm.
is a business plan important? A business idea is important. A business plan can become important as you grow your business. If you're planning to turn it into a multi-million dollar, you know, enterprise, at some point, yes, it's going to become important, but you're you're limiting yourself if you think, well, I can't do anything until I have everything 100% in place. No,
Mm.
start working on it. Start getting those wheels moving, and it'll come to fruition for you. As far as this one, the higher education scam. So where that came about, and yeah, some of it is from my stories of things that happened to me. I told you about the company where I basically lost the job because she realized they didn't have a
Yeah,
college degree.
degree.
And
Yeah.
I was just like, wow, that's just such a limiting thing that you're doing there. I had 12 years experience running a multi-million dollar company. Why do you care about this piece of paper? And so that's where that book came from, my story, and also other things that have happened in my life. So I have a son that he had started going to college. And January of 2020, he came to us and he said, you know what? I think I'm going to take some time off from college. I just don't know if I'm not sure what I want to do and everything. I just want to take some time off. And wow, what great timing, because had he gone
Mm,
that semester, it would have just been a waste anyway, because that's when COVID began. And he never would have, he wouldn't have finished that. He would have paid money for really nothing, right? So fast forward to last year, he and a friend decided to move to Chicago. They wanted to pursue stand-up comedy. So it's a great place to go to do that. He was like 24 years old, and I'm like, yeah, go for it. You have nothing holding you here. Knock yourself
mm,
out, try it. And so they moved, and he was taking courses with Second City and things like that. But when he moved there, he didn't have a job. So
mm,
he he had taken marketing in college, but he only went for 2 years, I think it was. So, he didn't have his degree or anything like that. But he applied for this one job, and what it ended up being, it's a placement company. But unlike most placement companies where they say, okay, you're looking for a programmer, we will find you a programmer. What this company did was, you're looking for a programmer, we will make someone a programmer and help you get them as an employee. Okay. So placement firm that actually teaches you the skills. So he got
yeah.
involved in their internet marketing program. And what this ended up being was an 8-week, very intense boot camp type program. Okay. While he was doing this, he said, is it possible for me to, I'm going to get a part-time job. And they said, no, don't get a part-time job. You will not be able to do it. And they were right. He was spending 12 to 16 hours a day on this program. Now,
Mm,
once he finished this program in 8 weeks, he got, I don't know, 6 or 7 different certifications that he needed to be able to do internet marketing. So once he finished the program, they were trying to place him in a job. Well, this was last year in May, I think it was. And they were struggling to place the people that they had in this program. And it was mainly due to the economy. So what they told my son and the other people in the program, look, just start applying for jobs. We don't know if we can get you a job or not. Well,
mm.
he got 7 offers. 7
7 offers.
offers. Okay. Did not have a college degree. He had certifications because he went through this boot camp program. So he got hired by, well, the company that he decided to go with. Once he got hired, they said, okay, so the way it works, we're going to send you through our 90-day training program so you can get all the needed certifications and get up to speed. 2 weeks into the 90-day program, they looked at him and they're like, well, you've already got all this stuff. You know what you're doing. So
Mm,
his 90 days turned into 2 weeks, and he was up and running, doing everything. Now, people that were hired about the same time that he was, that had gotten their 4-year degree, they still had to take all the certifications. They didn't have any of those. So what the college degree did was, it gave them a theory, but it really didn't teach them anything. So,
mm,
why? So that was another part of, what is the point of this,
mm,
and I don't want it to sound like I'm down on higher education, because I'm not. I just think that and the scam part is that there are so many people that believe, if you don't have a 4-year degree, you will never be successful. And if
mm,
you have a 4-year degree, regardless of what it is, yeah, you're going to be successful. And neither one of those statements is true. I know plenty of people that have gone 4 years, but they didn't really know what they wanted to do. And so because of that, they studied things they liked, and they
mm,
didn't, they came out with a 4-year degree, but it was in one of the humanities. They studied African studies or Asian studies or Russian literature, or things like that. And there's not a lot of jobs that require that, and it doesn't really help. It teaches you soft skills, but it doesn't teach you real skills. Now, if you want to be an accountant, yes, go get an accounting degree. That way you will fully understand the balancing of the books and all of that kind of stuff. And there are certain standards that they want everybody to adhere to. Okay, if you want to be an engineer, yes, please get that degree, because you're dealing with people's lives, with these structures that, if they're not built correctly, they could crash down and kill people. medical, all that kind of stuff. Yes. But for so many things, the college degree is not the thing. What I believe is this: figure out what you want to do, and then you need to research it. You need to find out, okay, what what is required to get this type of job? Talk to people that are doing that job. Talk to people in HR at companies that hire these people. Find out, okay, you're doing this job. What kind of background do you have? You're hiring people for this job. What are you looking for? Because you might find out, yes, you do need that 4-year degree. Or you might find out, you know what? Really, we just promote from within. I interviewed a
Mm.
woman in my book, and she didn't do that. She wanted to get into managing restaurants, and she thought maybe she would own a restaurant or even just like a food cart one day. And she went to a private university. Actually, it's a really expensive one too. Took her 5 years to get a culinary arts degree. And once she got out, she went to try to get these management jobs in restaurants, and that's what she was told. Oh, you know what? We usually promote from within. Well,
Mm.
she did end up getting some jobs, but it was more of like a key holder, maybe supervisor position. She was able to lock up at night, but she wasn't doing the scheduling. She wasn't doing the food costs and things like that that she'd gone to school for to learn how to do. And the bigger problem was that these positions didn't pay that well. But now she's got $90,000 in school debt. And
Mm.
really, to be able to afford to live, she had to switch back out of that key holder position, which maybe could have turned into something eventually, back to being just a server where she can make more money. So it's kind
Mm.
of catch 22 for her, and she's very frustrated because of that. So she told me at one point, she said, you know, I have, since I got out of college, I have gotten a couple management positions, but it had nothing to do with my degree. And I got those positions because of people I knew, not because of
Wow.
what I knew. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's a very, very good thing. And they don't teach this in high school. What they say is you need to go to college. You need to go to college. And yeah, some people do, some people don't. I was one that, you know what? I never would have made it through college. I made it 3.5 years of high school, and I realized that I had enough credits. And I went and talked to my counselor, and I'm like, okay, so I have enough credits. Is there a reason I need to go this last semester? Well, you know, if you're going to go to college, I'm like, no, 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 no. Answer the question. And they said, no, if you've got enough credits. So I didn't go the last semester. I was done. I it was a struggle to go the 3.5 years that I did go. And there are a lot
Mm.
of people like me. And what I found is that a lot of people that are like that are the independent type of people that do well in owning their own business.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's a lot of different paths and there's a lot of ways to be successful. College can be one of them, but it isn't an absolute. And if you don't go to college, you're not necessarily going to end up a ditch digger working for minimum wage. So,
Yeah. So true. So true, Dwayne. I 100% agree with everything you've said. And like the moral of the story to those listening to us is do not allow the fact that you don't have a college degree hold you back, right? Go for what you want, chase your dream, put in the work, like Dwayne explained, put in the work and you will find success. So, Dwayne, I know you talked about having like an IT company.
yeah.
Can you describe what you actually help people with in your company? Like, is it helping them with their computers? Do you have, do your clients have to be geolocated where you are, or can you serve clients all over the world?
Yeah. So, as I said before, my customers are really small companies and individuals, and really, I help them with whatever they need help with. I do a lot of, hey, my printer says it's offline, or you know, that type of thing. Um, I help people. I need a new computer. What should I get? I
Mm.
will help them find the right computer so they get enough, not, you know, not spend way too much or end up buying a dog that's not going to help them at all. Um, and the way I work, I don't have a shop. Okay. So
Okay.
I do a lot in my in the Denver area. I go to a lot of customers, but you
Okay.
know what? I have a customer that she used to live about 5 miles from me. She moved to Montana. It's probably been 4 or 5 years now, and she calls me a couple times a year and says, "Hey, can you log in and just take a look at my computer? I think it's running slow. I need help with this or whatever." And yeah, I've got a remote software that takes about 30 seconds. She goes to my website, she downloads a file, and boom, I'm on her machine. And we'll be on the phone talking as I'm just working on her computer. So yeah, I I actually had a customer that I used to have. He's since retired, but he designed golf courses all over the world. And he
Mm.
called me from South Korea because he was having some issues.
Wow.
I think it was a WhatsApp call, so nice and easy. But I actually logged into his computer while he was in South Korea, and I was surprised. I was expecting a bigger lag in, me doing something and it changing on his computer, but it really almost instantaneous. There was just a slight lag, so that was kind of cool.
That's amazing. Yeah, and with the advance in technology, I think it doesn't matter where you are in the world, as long as you have internet connection, you're
Yep.
good to go. Now I'm looking, we're almost at time, but Dwayne, I want to talk about your second book, Lessons from the Business Heroes of the Pandemic. I love that title. Can you tell us more?
Yeah. So as I said, I built my business through networking. So
Hmm.
the majority of my friends are business owners. And this book came about during COVID. During COVID, being in IT, I was deemed essential, and I was busier than I've ever been. But
Hmm.
a lot of my friends, their businesses were suffering because they weren't essential. They had to, close their doors or whatever. So, and that really frustrated me that I had so many friends that were just struggling. And as I was driving around, I would see companies that had figured it out. They'd figured out how to pivot, and I remember driving past a place, and it was a brewery, and they had actually gotten some tents and put some tents outside so they could have, one party in this tent, one party in this tent. And I was like, wow, okay, they figured out how to keep their business open and still pay their employees and thrive. And the phrase business heroes of the pandemic hit me at that point. So then I just started writing down as I would see things and things that I used to build my business. I just started writing all these things down, and I realized about 30 days into doing that, wow, this could be a book. And this was the first book that I had written. And so I just kept writing, and I went online. I'm like, okay, how do I know if it's enough, or what? I found out that so you don't do it by pages, you do it by words.
Mhm.
And what I found out is that about 30,000 words would give me a book around 150 pages in the size, the shape of book that I wanted. So I was like, okay, now I've got a goal, 30,000 words. And I wrote down everything that I could think of, all the ideas from building my business. And basically it's a how to stay essential book. That's what it amounts to. So there are lessons in there that anybody can use to just help them stay afloat and stay on top of things. So
Wow, that's amazing. So, if you're listening and you want to grab any of or both of Dwayne's books, I would put the links in the show notes or the description if you're watching on YouTube, so you can go grab those books. Lastly, I want to touch on one point, and that is, Dwayne, the glow and the fulfillment I see on your face as you talk about your business. And I think that's one of the gifts of running your own business, especially if you are blessed and lucky enough to do something you love. So I can feel your passion for your business and your fulfillment. Can you give us some pointers if someone is listening and they're like stuck? They're wondering, okay, what's my purpose on earth? How can I find something that gives me joy and fulfillment? What tips can you give them?
Wow, that's kind of a tough one. But you know what I would say is um do something, find something that you enjoy and
Mm,
find a way to monetize that. That's the best thing, you
mm,
know, because if you can wake up every morning and be excited about what's coming, that it makes all the difference in the world. I want everybody that's listening and watching this to know that we are recording this on a Monday morning at 7 a.m. in my time zone. So,
mm.
you know,
Yeah.
most people Monday morning, 7 a.m., they're like, hit the snooze. I don't want to. No, I'm excited to get up. I enjoy what I'm doing. You know, if I were independently wealthy, I would probably still do the same thing because I enjoy it. So find something that you enjoy doing and do that. Now, it may take time to build that, but you know what? If you have a full-time job, but you can fit in the time to do your passion and enjoy your passion, you will find that things will go better in all areas of your life because you are doing something in, you know, in some way that is bringing you that joy. So find out what it is. If you can turn it into a business, fantastic. If you can't right now, you know, do it to get that joy and that spark so that everything else you do can be a little bit better too.
Yeah, I love that so much. And that was my yardstick of finding what my passion was. I told myself if I'm on my bed at 6 a.m. and I'm supposed to get up, I would ask myself, are you excited to get up? And when I found that excitement, I'm like, gosh, I'm blessed. I get to do a job I love. And yeah, like you said, and my time is 9 a.m. and I'm ready to go, right? Like I'm so excited to come into my office in the basement to to get my work done, right? I am not grumpy, I'm not grouchy, I'm excited. So that's definitely a blessing. Thank you so much, Dwayne. It's been a privilege having you. I'm gonna give you some time to put in some last words. But first of all, I want to say like that's why I do this podcast for people to hear real life stories because we can all go buy business books, right? Those are theory. But when you see real life, how someone has implemented the principles to create the success and joy they have in their businesses, I think that's the best way for people to learn. That's why I do what I do. So, Dwayne, before I let you go, any last words for our audience?
Yeah, Joy, there's I have sticky notes all over my computer screen, the electronic ones. And one that I look at every day is success is not something that happens to you. Success only happens because of you. Nothing happens to me, it happens because of me, good or bad. So that's what I live by. So I'm not a victim. Things don't happen to me. I make things happen. And that's anybody can do that. And if you take that attitude, you know, yeah, you can make a difference in whatever it is. It's up to you. You can do it.
Boom! Mic drop right there. I have to make Wi-Fi. If I drop it now, like my audio is gonna go off. So that's a mic drop right there. Thank you so much, Dwayne. It's been a privilege having you on the show. I know I will try my best to have you back because you have so much wisdom we can all learn from. So, Dwayne, if someone wants to connect with you, what's the best way they can reach out to you?
So, if you can see the screen right there, it's got my name and it's got calldwayne.com. That's um, it's my website. I call that kind of a link page because everything that I'm involved with is on that page. I don't the email scam, or I mean the higher education scam. I don't have that one on there yet because this book just came out last month. I'm actually doing a launch party tomorrow night for it, so a lot to
Wow.
do. But everything that will be on there, but everything I do can be found at thecalldwayne.com.
Awesome. I'm going to add the link, all of these links we've talked about to the show notes, the links to the Amazon store as well for you to grab copies. Dwayne, we wish you luck, all of us, and success for your launch tomorrow. Have fun because you've done all the hard work already, and it's just for you to enjoy all of the fruits of your labor. Thank you so much for blessing us with your time today.
Thanks, Joy.
Hey, very quickly before you go, if this podcast inspired or encouraged you in any way, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and share this with a friend. It means a lot to us, and we appreciate your kindness and generosity in doing this. We'll see you back here on the next episode. Bye bye.